this right here is the very first iPhone released all the way back in 2007. Hang on if my camera will focus. And this right here is the latest and greatest iPhone 16 Pro Maxes of making this video. How has the iPhone exactly changed since 2007? Let's take a look at it. So first of all, what features does the iPhone 16 Pro Max have that the original iPhone doesn't on its original firmware? Because this iPhone's first generation iPhone right here, as you can tell, it runs firmware 1.0 and is 8 gigabytes. Yes, you heard me right. Firmware 1.0, because I didn't call iOS back then. They just call it iPhone firmware. And this iPhone, actually 8 gigabytes was its highest capacity until January 2008 when they unveiled a 16 gigabyte variant. And there was even a 4 gigabyte variant of the original iPhone 2, though that was discontinued in September of 2007, which was just 3 months after the first iPhone debuted. However, this iPhone 16 Pro Max, as you can tell, it runs iOS 18.1.1 and is a 16 Pro Max and is 1 terabyte. So one feature is obviously storage, because base storage on the iPhone 16 Pro Max is now 256 gigabytes, and the base storage was 4 gigabytes on the original iPhone. The maximum storage is 1 terabyte on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, while it's just 16 gigabytes on the iPhone first generation. But in terms of software, it's easier to say what this phone has than what it doesn't have. So it does support text messaging, although it's only SMS. You can just text basically. There's no iMessage or anything like that. There is a calendar, which lets you just do basic calendar stuff. There is photos, where you can review photos. And you can also take photos. So as you can tell, here's a very pixelated photo that I can just take. Has a little shutter sound. Then I can go ahead and view them and go back to the camera right here. And it works like a charm. There is a built-in YouTube client that was added through a partnership with Google. However, nowadays it's no longer built in. You have to go to the dedicated YouTube app right here. There is a stocks app on the original iPhone, although it doesn't work. Google Maps was included on the iPhone as this is before Apple Maps. There is a weather app, although that no longer works. The clock app is kind of the same on iOS 1.0 versus iOS 18. But obviously, the method of navigation has changed, because on this iPhone, you have the home button, whereas on this iPhone, you just use gestures. Notes app, the Notes app is still kind of on the first iPhone's obviously just a basic Notes app, just type right here. But the Notes app on iOS 18 is obviously far more advanced. So you have iCloud Notes, shared notes, all that jazz. The calculator app on iOS 18 is also a lot more advanced, because it just got advanced. Because on this iPhone, it's just a basic calculator, you can't even flip it over. However, this does have circular controls, which was later brought back in iOS 11. Right here, you have basic scientific and math notes. And so the calculator app has definitely changed. Settings has obviously changed. The phone app, again, I can't open this because this will show all my mom's calls and contacts. It basically hasn't changed. The mail app, which I also can't open, the mail app for the most part is still kind of the same, except on firmware 1, as you can tell, you have different clients. This is back in the days of .Mac, before Mobile Me, which was the predecessor to iCloud, which I explained more in a video I'll link up here. And then and then on this iPhone right here, you have music. However, which right here is just me. Which right here, as you can tell, is just a basic iPod music app that also lets you use TV, movies, and whatnot. And right here, you can see all my mom's albums. Now, there was no App Store on firmware 1.0, for that wasn't added until iPhone OS 2. And there was also no iTunes Store at the start. And funny enough, even when you activated this iPhone, you literally had to activate it through iTunes with a computer, as you couldn't set up on your own. And this iPhone was also limited to AT&T in the United States, whereas obviously you can get iPhones on AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, among many other smaller carriers now. And so now let's go ahead and do a website launching test now. All right, so let's go ahead and open up google.com now. So as you can tell, it actually loads up around the same pace. Now let's do apple.com. Okay, I just opened up this page, but as you can tell, it's not even going to bother loading on the iPhone OS 1.0. because it couldn't activate a secure connection to the server, which is mostly the experience with web browsing on firmware 1.0. However, now let's do a shutdown test to see which iPhone shuts down faster. As you can tell here, you just have slide to power off, whereas here you can do other stuff alongside slide to power off. So let's power these babies down. The iPhone 16 Pro Max obviously powered down a little bit faster. Let's go ahead and turn these on, and I'll turn on my stopwatch. There we go. And the first generation iPhone actually booted faster. But not that many seconds later, the iPhone 16 Pro Max booted. So now, without further ado, let's actually do a camera comparison test to see which iPhone has a better camera. So I'll go ahead and take some photos because this iPhone can't even shoot video. That's how basic it is. Well, you can shoot video on these with a jailbreak tweak on their iPhone OS versions. And that, in a basic overview, is a comparison between the first generation iPhone on firmware 1.0 versus the iPhone 16 Pro Max on iOS 18.1.1. So as always, thank you all for watching this video. I'm the iTunes family, and as always, peace out.